Coming up.
I was doing the math earlier. You can almost carry a dairy cow a year
and make her work
without milking her. Yeah.
I think the market's getting shorter and shorter about every month, it feels like. I mean, it got bad enough in certain areas that you were essentially taking some of them solid and short and spreader cows that are the most productive years of their life, and they were hanging.
That's right around the corner on the Live Ag Ranch and Livestock Marketing We Live It podcast. But first, a reminder. If it's time to sell your cattle, consign your cattle with Live Ag. Our summer auction schedule is on your screen and available at live-ag.com. Consign your cattle now and take advantage of Live Ag's generations of experience in livestock marketing. Now here's your hosts, Ty deCordova and Casey Mabry.
Welcome to We Live It podcast. Myself, Ty deCordova, and Casey Mabry here. Once again, we'd like to thank y'all for joining us on social media and watching these things. We can't thank y'all enough for trusting us, I guess, and I don't know why they'd want to watch me and you talk about stuff, but thank y'all very much. We have Levi Grove here. Levi, where you live in Sterling? Where do you live now?
I live just southeast County.
Still southeast Sterling here. He trades a lot of cows, buys a bunch of herd dispersals, and trades a lot of stuff that way, if I understood you right earlier. So, but Levi's from Kansas originally, is that correct? So kind of just give us a little background of, your background of how you was in the industry, and kind of just talk about it.
I grew up in the Flint Hills of Kansas. I grew up in a little town called Cassidy, which nobody, unless you've been through the Flint Hills of Kansas, you don't really know where Cassidy is. But I grew up in Cassidy until I was about 9, and then my parents moved to El Dorado. My stepdad was a school teacher, and then in, I think, 89 or 90, he decided he was going to run some cattle and started a custom grazing business. And so that was kind of our background on that side with my mom and my stepdad. And my dad's always been a cow guy. So I've kind of got the best of both worlds on when it comes to my parents. We have a unique scenario.
Kind of grew up sale barn background a little bit. Y'all had this El Dorado sale barn for a little while there.
My stepdad and a partner had the sale barn at El Dorado from, I think, 98 till 2000. Would have been 21, I think.
No, it was before that.
No, it might have been. No, it was. It was 2015. 15. That's when it was. I lose track of time. Yeah. But yeah, so I was right out of high school when they purchased that. He and Steve Hamlin owned that, and I got a pretty good exposure to that. And
back in one of those times.
Oh yeah, you can learn a lot in a sorting alley. That's where I think the greatest education I've ever came from was probably in a sorting alley or picking up yearlings somewhere. So yeah.
Looking to earn a premium for doing things right? At Earth Claims, we provide private, third-party verification services trusted by ranchers and preferred by retailers. We offer the original animal welfare program, Global Animal Partnership, also known as GAP. And now we've added NHTC and Verified Natural to provide the best third-party bundle in the business today. Plus, Earth Claims offers grass-fed and organic programs to propel your access into the top markets and best prices. Our team has over 200 years of combined experience in animal husbandry, and we understand the ins and outs of your operation because we've lived it too. Call us today at 816-652-2004 or visit earthclaims.com to enroll your cattle and start earning more. Earth Claims, rancher trusted, retailer preferred.
So kind of tell us a little bit about the cow trade. What have you seen here the last year, last 6-8 months? What are you thinking on this cow deal? What's it looking like?
On the bred cow deal, especially on the better end of the cows, we're always a little behind what the feeder markets will do, and the fat cattle market will do. But I think that, we've had this big word of expansion here recently, and I think there's a lot of people realizing that's probably not coming as fast as they want it to. And so I think that, we're kind of starting to see in the bred cow and the pair side of it that we're kind of finally starting to catch up with what the value of those things truly is,
Yeah, they've been pretty cheap relative to everything else. You have feeder cattle that was basically the same value as a bred cow, right?
And usually when we see a big market run, historically, it's always that way. The last thing to come to the table is usually the bred cow market and the bull market. And they've really taken a turn here in the last 6 months.
Are you starting to, so when you say that, so this is one thing that I've sitting here and just racked in my mind because I was looking at the numbers and I was looking at charts on separating beef cow slaughter and dairy cow slaughter out, okay? And so those markets are extremely strong, the slaughter cow markets. So there should be tremendous amount of incentive. But then the other thing is now we got the cow man they've been able to get 2 calf crops and is above what a break even would be. And now he's got good margin out there, right? Yeah. So now, I mean, from a business decision standpoint, I'm not going to say they're going to start to retaining, but they've obviously started selling less cows. Okay, so we're killing less cows, right? And then so to you're starting to see price escalation. That means you got somebody either not wanting to sell cows, or you got somebody wanting to step in and buy.
Yeah, I think currently the market's pretty short. I think for a high quality commercial cow, I think the market's getting shorter and shorter about every month. It feels like, usually this time of year we see several of these heifer pair sales that are they're just kind of flooding the market. And there's an opportunity usually to get in and buy some heifer pairs worth of money. And this deal, they're bringing what they should, and because there's not very many of them, but
Do you think it's because the guys are like not wanting to let loose of them?
I think so. I think the retainment deal, I think, on the heifers has changed it all. I think that for so many years that these guys that would normally retain heifers, the value of these heifers has gotten to the point where they're cashing a pretty good chip. And I think that, with the input cost of these things and the cost of production being so high, I think that they've taken a lot of advantage of it the last 2 years where, like these last few rounds of calf, like you said, they've made them some money. Oh, yeah. And, as a cow-calf producer, I think that temptation is pretty hard to retain.
Yeah, there's 2 ways to expand. And really the first one, just think through this, right? We cull in the beef herd at about a 10% rate. So you could sell less cows. You can cull less cows. You can be more accepting of a cow that's got a problem in your herd unless she's dying. So you're gonna keep them cows another couple years. The dairy cow, we're seeing the same thing in the dairy cow population where they've slowed forever. The last 4 or 5 years, as they've started to get $400, $500, $600, $700, $800, $900 for a day old calf.
Oh yeah,
they've slowed down. I was doing the math earlier. You could almost carry a dairy cow a year
and make her work without
milking her. Yeah. You could have. It's crazy to think through the economics of it. And so, that's where I'm like really trying to balance out and go, are we going to grow? Could you grow the cow herd theoretically by not culling as fast?
I think you could, but I think,
you see what I'm saying?
We've had such a unique scenario where a lot of the Midwest is coming out of the drought the last 3 years. And we're still in it here. We're not anywhere out of the woods. We got a little moisture this week, and it wasn't much. But, my dad lives up north of northwest Scottsbluff. They haven't had any rain since May.
I lived up there for a while. They haven't had any rain since about 1926.
that's Sioux County can be pretty unforgiving when you get off the Niobrara. But we've had kind of a perfect storm of these markets running into the back end of a year where we're coming out of a massive kill because of these droughts. Yeah, and so it's like nobody really. You want to retain them, but you're like, oh, they're worth $1,800 to haul them to town. Yeah. Why wouldn't I haul them to town? It's pretty hard to resist that.
Ty and I were talking about that. Was when we were driving in from the airport. I was asking Tom, like, are you seeing guys buy these heifers to go in there and start to breed them? Are you seeing any of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, and we're seeing an end of it. And I noticed it because I appreciate a really good heifer to breed. Yeah. But we'll see an end of it here, especially if we have a little market drop in this heifer deal. People will start looking at the raw numbers. Yeah. And they'll be like, she's got 2 holes, we'll breed her. Yeah. And that doesn't help our industry at all because we lose so much productivity on the backside of it when they come into production. Yeah. So
when you're liquidating the herd, you kill the worst ones, and then when you're expanding, you keep the worst ones.
Oh yeah. And it was like the last few years when the liquidations happened because of the drought. It got bad enough in certain areas that you were essentially taking some of them short and spreader cows that are the most productive years of their life, and they were hanging them. Yeah. Just because they didn't have an option.
Well, and the market was a hamburger.
And the market was so flooded to the point that, there was a lot of them things that normally they might have prick checked them and saw that they were, first trimester, first couple months and rolled her on, but there wasn't any value in it because they went ahead and hung them because it was so high in hamburger. So they never went back into the cycle. It's interesting how it's all kind of played out.
Yeah, there's definitely we can all spitball it and guess, and that's what everybody is. And I've told somebody if somebody shows up and they've got the magic 8 ball, you need to get away from them because nobody knows what's going to happen on this deal. But I mean, it's been really, really good. I mean, there's been a lot of money made in this business.
And I was asking my brother the other day if he'd seen it at the barn where they started keeping heifers yet, and he said no. In our country, he said no, because his heifer percentage is still higher than it normally is because they're bringing so much. I mean, they're stripping them off and they're getting rid of them. I mean, if they're doing any, they'll keep 4 or 5 just to replace the 4 or 5 cull cows they sent to town. But they're not growing; they're just replacing.
What are you seeing in the rebreed market? So like these cows, I mean, so last fall, whenever you had all the opens that were coming to town, where'd they go? They go to a feed yard.
And the rebreed market was pretty insane last fall. I mean, you're seeing a market to where in the years past, those young, 3-year-olds that were thin that missed for natural causes. Like nothing that's missed because they come out of a drought. They didn't get stuck in the cycle they needed to get stuck in. In years past, you've been able to put them cows together for $900 to $1,250. Last year, they cost anywhere from $1,800 to $2,000. And it's just, and the value's still there because, I mean, the fall calf and cow market's really, really good right now.
Yeah, so let's think about that for a minute. 3 or 4 years ago, drought, the rebreed cow goes to slaughter. It goes to a feed yard, okay? She gets put on feed, she gets fed. Where's she going today?
I think there's guys that are rolling the dice and taking her back to the country and trying her again.
Okay, so there's a little bit of another part right there that you got to think through, right? So she would have got cold. That's the heiferette market, things like that. Those heifers that get bred, and even even heifers that would have got bred that would have come back open. They might take another shot at her because if you get her bred, she's worth a lot of money now.
Yeah, and like on our end of it, we take the best market value, I think, in that, and we do some of that. I mean, we do quite a bit of it every year. The 4, 5, and 6-year-old cows, because usually them cows aren't aged when they come in to weigh them up. So it's basically whoever the buyer is, and they're getting an eye for, she's a heiferette type. She brings X amount of dollars more. But a 4-year-old that's green and just needs some energy to breed back up, that's a market that a lot of times those people will miss. You can see the youth in her. And so now there's a lot of people that, like us, we try to get into that 4 and 5, 6-year-old market to be able to cheapen those heiferettes up because the heiferette market gets pretty crazy at different times.
Well, she can go to a feed yard or she can go to a cow man.
Oh, yeah.
Or she can go to a cow plant.
The little green 2-year-olds that have raised wetback 2-year-olds that have raised a calf and then get bred back because they had a pretty tough go of it.
Those are the kinds you like to
that's
pick off. They're a dream to get on the right nutrition program and to get fattened up and get bred.
Things on, just put some energy in them, and it's amazing how well they cycle within a 2-week span. I mean, it's.
My dad, he used to buy them things just like groves of them,
And that's one reason I love it up here is because the cattle are so good, the cow herd's so good that you can have somebody set in a barn, or you can be in a barn, and there's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of opportunity to be able to do that because normally you set at a barn, it's kind of everybody's junk. You see that in Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, but you get up here, there's
no junk in Texas.
Yeah. But I'm saying
this is a great area.
This is from here north. It's the heart of our most productive cow herd, and so if there's one that missed for natural reasons, she should go back in the cycle. We need her to go back in the cycle because this deal ain't going to fix itself anytime soon.
No, I agree.
Moving livestock isn't just about getting animals from point A to point B. It's about doing it with the care and precision that keeps your investment safe and sound. Since 1987, Agar Transportation has been the name that ranchers across the country trust with their herds. Their experienced drivers understand that your livestock is your livelihood, and they trust each load like it's their own. I've personally used Agar to move my own livestock, and I can tell you, nobody takes better care of your animals on the road. Whether you're moving herd bulls or a full truckload of calves, give Agar Transportation a call today. That's 208-452-5011, or visit agartransportation.com for a quick quote. Agar Transportation, moving your cattle with care since 1987.
We was talking earlier before we come on here. You was talking about the sense of community up here and how good the people are. Kind of let's touch on that. How this industry and this business is a relationship business. It's people doing business with great people.
Oh yeah.
You come from the Flint Hills where it's big country and a lot of that stuff's owned by a different kind of people, and it's just big and massive. And then you get up here, and the country's still big and massive, but every rancher wants to go help his neighbor. Every rancher wants to. Everybody wants everybody to be successful.
100%. Yeah, it's the Flint Hills, and I love the Flint Hills, and it's a wonderful place to run cattle, and it's really good till about the 10th of August. Like it's And then you got to start supplementing them because that old grass goes dormant and it's pretty tough. But, down there, a lot of that country, most of that country is lease country, that people are running yearlings on. And that's a pretty cutthroat industry, that custom grazing deal. And so there'd be some bitterness and animosity over the years on different neighbors trying to do business, trying to lease a piece of ground. And you get up here and it's that to an extent, but everybody up here is just trying to survive and manage what they have. And neighbors help neighbors, and it's a very open, it's like this deal. It's wonderful. Everybody gets together because we're all like-minded people, have the same values, and we have a good time.
And raising money for a good cause.
And raising money for a great cause.
And it never hurts when you've won it the last 2 years in a row to kind of want to keep being involved in it. I mean, let's do a little gloating here while we're at it. So, I mean.
Oh, yeah, they do. Oh, yeah. Yeah. My daughter wears one and my wife wears the other one. So
we're going for a three-peat here?
Yeah, we're going to try it. It's going to be tough. They got a couple heifers that are gaining over 5 a day now. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. They got one gain of 5.14, one gain of 5.3, and one gain of 5.6.
All right, so let's talk about that for a minute. You've obviously won this thing. You're a competitor.
I love it.
Yeah, and so explain to everybody out there what this Logan County Cattle Women's Calcutta is.
So basically, it's a halfway point. They catch weight on the heifers. They kick the heifers in.
Start at the beginning.
So in November, you donate your heifer, and you just donate her. You have her brand inspected to them, to the Logan County Cattle Women, and she is theirs. So whatever happens. There's no guarantee on rate of return. And I've got some friends that throughout the industry, whether we got a guy in California, we got people in Nebraska, that we all like the little competition. I mean, most people in the cattle industry do like a little competition. It's a blast. So you donate that heifer, and then they feed them X amount of days. They wait 15 days before the weigh. They get everything just kind of filled up on grass hay, nothing on rations. So they basically, if you've got one starved down, trying to get the shrink right, because that was my big deal. I'm like, when do you?
About your secret.
There is no secret. There is no secret. So at 15 days, they're all weighed in, and then at the halfway point, they check them for average daily gain. And so everybody basically will bid on a heifer, and they'll hedge the bet against what their average daily gain is and what she looks like at the halfway point and versus what she might be fat. And so basically you buy a heifer and you're in for 3 categories. You're in for the Grand Champion category, which pays 2 holes, or the rate of gain category, which pays 10 holes, or the carcass contest, which pays 10 holes. So it's kind of a unique scenario.
So what would be the total Calcutta value?
Tonight? I have no idea. I mean, last year there was some heifers. There was a heifer I think bring 6, and there was a lot of them bring 4.
So we got just called a $3,000 or $4,000 average on how many heifers?
51.
So there's $150,000 in the pot.
Yeah, okay. I think roughly.
Yeah,
and it might get. I mean, this is the 3rd year they've done it, and so it's the first year I think there was 56 heifers. Last year I think there was 54, and I don't quote that.
Yeah, so
but the community at the Calcutta has gotten a lot more. Last year was a lot more involved, and they loved it. I mean, there was doctors' offices buying heifers that
Well, I think it's cool to get the community involved.
Oh, they come in and they come out and eat a steak and have a glass of whiskey and have about 5 more glasses of whiskey, and next thing you know, they own a heifer.
We have a good auction.
Yeah, that's the key to it.
Take this sucker back to Texas and do one down there too.
Oh, it's all designed after Yuma County, which is right south. And Yuma's got a lot of big feed yards, a lot of guys that love to feed cattle. They got a lot of smaller independent feeders, but they all love to feed cattle. And
where do they feed these things at?
Macandeffers.
Macandeffers? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man, we could have went and seen them today.
Should have went and looked at them.
Well, we drove on through there, but he didn't tell us they were there.
They're in pin 603. I went and looked. I hadn't looked at.
Oh, you hold on.
I hadn't seen them.
So you went and seen everything. So you kind of.
Well, they posted on their Facebook page, man.
I guess I got to get on social media more.
I hadn't seen them, and so last night it was misting, and I was in town, and I was like, "What pin are they in?"
So you went out there when they were wet and looked soggy, and that one that had his head poked.
I went out there after I went about dark, and the evening feed was in.
And the
everything
one that was still up there eating, you're going to buy that one.
I don't know. We'll see what happens.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch him and say, okay.
He might snake you on this auction deal. He bids and you bid and he stops.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but the first year, and we've raised the 2 heifers that have won, which is pretty unique, pretty neat for me. I mean, it's like for me and my dad. No, not even same cow herd. Like I think Drummond's ended up buying that. She was in a string of cows that went to Drummond's that first year, and I don't remember where the string of cows went that this one came out of. But so it's been neat for me. But the first year, we had a heifer that was just running away with it. And it was pretty obvious when you looked at him that she had it all. And so I didn't do the bidding the first year. Ryan Timmerman did, and I'm throwing him under the bus. And he didn't buy her, but the group that came in second bought her, and she made them a pile of money. And I will never let Ryan Timmerman ever live that down. I mean, so yeah, it's been fun. It's pretty neat.
Well, the room's filling up. Looks like it's going to be quite a few. I think they said there's going to be 350, 400 people here tonight. So it ought to be
what's the fundraiser for?
Logan County Cattle.
So it goes, and then what do they do with the money?
So
throw big parties like this?
They do this, but one of the coolest things they do is they go into a lot. They go to our Capitol, and they'll kind of just have conversations with legislators.
So they're using the money to make a voice for cattle people.
Yeah, and then they have a really cool deal where they're doing this, in the classroom deal where they go in and talk about the entire beef industry, all of it, to these kids in these inner city schools that have no idea where any of it comes from. And I mean, and they spend a lot of time doing it and a lot of money, and I think it's great. I wish I could.
No, I think in all these states, as y'all have grown your population, and especially around Denver and all that stuff, it's important to remember that Colorado is an ag-based state, and it's important, and so it's good they're bringing that money back in there. So,
and here you've got to stay proactive, because if you didn't, nobody in the front range would ever know we existed.
Right. So, well, thanks for being on. Thanks for sharing your story, man. We appreciate you. Thanks everybody for joining us and watching. Don't forget to hit subscribe and like. Thank you, Casey. Thank you, Levi. Appreciate you guys. Once again, God bless. We live it.